Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another morning ramble. And I thought I was being very clever this morning. I woke up way too early, but I'm staying near the beach, and I thought, oh, I'll come down and I'll do a morning ramble at sunrise. But the lighting on the iPhone is really too good because the sun hasn't risen, and it looks like the middle of the day. Also, it's the Pacific Ocean, so the sunrise isn't going to be behind me anyways. So all that said, what I actually thought I'd ramble about this morning is fear. And I was thinking a lot about fear yesterday. Funnily enough, I heard myself talking to somebody in a line 6 feet apart, and I was talking about going and dropping off our daughter up in Seattle and how scary I found it. And I kept hearing myself talking about fear, and I thought, well, that's interesting, because I wouldn't have said that I was feeling scared, but clearly, at some level, my scary thinking was very active. And then I was reflecting on that, and I started just realizing, man, the problem with fear, besides it's scary, but the problem with fear is it really does a number on you. Or more to the point, the things that we do to cope with it do a number on us. When we are not afraid, we're really good people. People at their best are really lovely, and I've seen a lot of that in these last 7 months, of people at their best and people really going out of their way to help one another. And when people get scared, and not so much the fear, but the things they do to cope with it, the anger that comes, the protectionism, the separation that comes with fear, the us and theming that comes as a way of coping with fear. Hey, if it's just us, we don't have to be afraid, but we need to be careful about them. All of that is a coping mechanism for fear. And I remember a guy I knew very well who we were talking about the fear, money fears, and at a dinner party, and he said, oh, I don't have any money fears. And we all just stopped and stared at him, because we'd all known him a long time. And he probably had more money fears than anyone we knew. He just happened to have money. And so he wasn't scared at that point in time. And so that's one of the ways that we attempt to cope with fear, is by taking care of the problem that we think is scaring us, whether that is killing it, avoiding it, or doing whatever we have learned to do, hiding from it, so that we don't have to deal with it. But fear doesn't work that way. Fear is, it's thought. Yes, we experience it in our body as we experience all thought in our body. Yes, there's a biological safety mechanism. But that's completely different to 99.9% of what we experience as fear. That's triggered by thought. And so what do? Well, there's a couple of things that I find really helpful. One is a quote, and I decided not to try and say her name because I was looking online and I couldn't find a pronunciation. But there's a woman, I will try and say her name, Aung San Suu Kyi, and I apologize to anyone from Myanmar or Burma, but there was a quote from her. She was the first woman president of Myanmar, if I understand my history correctly. And she said, "Fear is a habit. I am not afraid." And you can see how so many of your scary thoughts are just habitual. They're not even yours anymore. They've just been there for so long that you don't question them when they come. And the other, and I'm going to go a little longer than I normally go on these today, but the other is from Frank Herbert, and this one I did bring up online. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Now, I first read the Dune books as a teenager, and I interpreted that as, yeah, we need to face our fears. And literally, so if I'm scared of the ocean, I'm going to go to the ocean. If I'm scared of a person, I'm going to go confront that person. I got to face my fears. And it was a very feel the fear and do it anyway. And sometimes I did and sometimes I didn't. But when I revisited those lines this morning, I heard them completely different. Not fear is the mind killer, fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. That still sounds true. But I will face my fear. Well, if fear only exists inside us, then to face our fear, we have to look within. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. Well, yeah, that means I can feel the feeling of fear. And if I do, then it just passes through. It doesn't mean I have to do anything. I don't need my coping mechanisms, whether they're healthier than some of the ones I mentioned earlier, or whether they're all of the ones I mentioned earlier. I can allow it to pass over me and through me, and when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see the path. Well, yeah. We're already looking within. And now, instead of looking to see where it goes, we look to see where it came from. And where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. So we look within, we look to see, well, wait, where'd it go? It was here a minute ago, and now it's just gone. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. And the I that remains is what the psychologist Richard Moss called the I that is we. It's that place in us where when you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. There's no us. There's no them. Only I remain. The I that is we. The I that is us. And from that place, we simply do not do harm. It feels weird to say have fun, learn heaps, but it's what I say. So have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk to you soon.